When making design considerations and trade-offs in how we build our sites, it's useful to be armed with information about the types of computers and browsers that our users have. This next set of reports can offer up a great deal of information to help us design and build an optimal site. The first report here shown under the Browser Capabilities section is the Browsers report. It tells us the different browsers that are in use on our site. One of the most common mistakes in site design is to create a site that has problems working in all browsers. However, even if your site doesn't work at all in a particular browser, users of that browser won't know it doesn't work until they actually visit the site, so you can't rely on the visitors column to tip you off, particularly if you have a high percentage of new users. But we'd see that problem by shifting to the Goal or e-commerce tab and looking for any particular browsers with suspiciously low values. If we do see one browser like that, it means that they may have trouble using your site, which prevented them converting on your goals. In our case, we don't see that issue, but it is worth noting that while over half of our visitors use IE, here we can see that from the number of visits on the Usage tab, when we switch to the e-commerce tab, we can see that 70% of our revenue comes from non-IE browsers, something interesting to know as an analyst. Along those lines, we can see operating systems as well as browsers. Here we see that Windows users make up the majority of visits to the site. We can also see this broken down by browsers and operating systems combined together. It's interesting to note that on this site, more people run Safari on Android than Safari on Windows, which probably doesn't hold true across the rest of the web, but does on this Google-owned site. Screen colors and resolutions are also available. While the web has started to see a shift to 1280 by 1024 as the dominant resolution, on this site, 1024 by 768 is still far and away the leader. Designing your site for the screen resolutions of your visitors can have a huge effect on conversion rate, so take advantage of these reports. Along these same lines, there are a few things that will stop a visitor in their tracks as quickly as forcing them to install or upgrade a plugin. So before you let your designer talk you into a page that requires the latest and greatest Flash or Java plugin, be sure to check your reports here first and see just how many users you'll be leaving out in the cold. Also, when doing analysis with these reports, don't forget to utilize second dimensions. For example, if you want to see the different screen resolutions your Mac users have, you can easily see this via the operating system report with a secondary dimension of screen resolution. By restricting this to Macintosh users, we can see the most common was 1280 by 800, followed by 1440 by 900, and so on. One interesting insight to note is that the most common Flash version is the latest version, 10.1R53. But if we segment by operating system and then secondary dimension of Flash, we see that while Windows users are indeed running the latest version, the most common Mac version is an older version, which may influence our design. By knowing the screen resolutions of each particular iPhone, we can see which version of it they have when visiting our site. Utilizing these reports can help us build sites that are optimally designed for our users' environments and significantly improve the success of our sites.